Welcome to Dog Chug. Ross, how you doing tonight?
Well, I'm good. Kind of filling in as the host, I guess, or co-host, not producer today. Andy's out sick because his kids apparently are always getting diseases and spreading them. Just living a good family life. You know how it is.
I didn't. You know what? We didn't know until late, and I didn't know the reason we didn't have Andy. At first, I thought he'd be suspended for the spooge in the eye jokes last week. I thought he got suspended for that. Second, and then I thought maybe it was a mental health day for the Watson, the IR drama hangover. I thought maybe he needed a day off, and then I thought maybe last because he's not having a good year. I thought maybe he's dodging his bookie why he wasn't on tonight. But no, it's so schools are a petri dish, man. We got 2 boys in school, and then the 3-year-old catches it because the 8-year-old brings it home. And you know what? I didn't think about it. I have no work tomorrow because of the exact same thing we're talking about. Last year, Jack got sick. Tomorrow, the Chooch is getting his tonsils out. So, we don't have to have him there till 11. So I get to sleep in, have a couple extra beers tonight, and Andy's going to miss it. So we got no update, no work tomorrow. Chooch won't have any tonsils after tomorrow. And I don't know. That's all I got. And the Browns won, and I'm scared, going into Baltimore. I'm worried. So
yeah, I was battling the same stuff. I had minor colds the last 2 weeks. I got a cough. I'm like, I'm over the cough. Then I got stuffy. It's the never-ending cycle when you got kids.
It is, man.
But not bad enough to miss Dog Chug. I'm happy to be here. Happy to fill in for Andy the best I can. I will do my best chugging possible. I don't think either of us can match him, but we do our best.
I think you can hold down your own. Well, let's bring in our first chug. This is going to be becoming a regular thing, and which is good. Is let's bring in our victory chug with Eddie.
Eddie, what's up?
I'm chilling. What's up, fellas? How's everyone doing?
Pretty
doing
good,
Eddie, man. How's
I'm
things?
happy to get the chug with you because when we get to chug with you, it means the Browns won, and that makes me happy. But what also makes me happy is beer. So
it's
a win-win.
Just say you have children, Ross. You have children.
I have 2 children, 2 boys.
I did not know that, honest to God, till right this moment in time. So, congratulations to you. That's cool.
You learn something new every day.
I had no idea. I seriously had no idea. And this whole time I've known you, I was just like, Ross is just, some young 20-year-old kid or 20-some-year-old kid. Good. No.
Well, no, I'm going to be a year older tomorrow, so.
Oh, happy early birthday.
Wow, you just right. Man.
Happy fucking birthday. Nice.
You could have got tonight off with pay. You didn't even take advantage of that. It looks like Ross will be off next week, Eddie, when you come by for a victory chug.
That's right.
You could have got like a clearance rack homage shirt or something.
You could have, yes.
Eddie, how's things going over at the Dog Pound Daily? And you're writing. I read you. I love you. You're one of my favorite writers. You're right up there. You're in my rotation. How's things going? What do you got?
It's going well. I'm actually writing now. I'm taking a break, obviously, to come chug this beer.
All right.
I'm writing the 3 big storylines for the game. And I'll just say them now, and you can read later of what they are. The Browns' offensive line, they're all banged up. That's a big storyline. Can the Browns neutralize Lamar Jackson? And can Deshaun build off the success from last week? So I'll get in depth of what those mean. And that'll be out tomorrow or Friday. I don't know. I don't set the schedule. I just send it to them and say, hey, buddy, it's done. Okay, cool. And then it's published, and they tag me, and I see it.
That's exciting.
All right, Eddie. I know you cover. Yeah.
I did say on Faithful Dogs podcast earlier, if the Browns go into Baltimore this week and win the game, I will either go on the show live, every Brown show we have. So there's 4 because mine is not right now, just with Faithful Dogs. I'll go on every show and chug a beer. Or if I don't chug a beer on live show, I'll take a video of myself chugging a beer and send it to them, and they can put it on their show. So
perfect.
That could be a little Network 216 promo. We could montage it together.
Yes, we could do a whole. I wish we could do the clips of all the victory chugs from the year, and then there'll be 4 for that one.
We got them in the archives. Don't worry.
Oh yeah, well, it'll probably be up for a Chuggy Award come at the end of the year. That video. So, you look forward to taking that home with you.
I look forward to.
All right, man. What do you say we get? What do you got to chug? What are you drinking?
I saved a pumpkin beer, the thing I had last time, Blockhouse Brew Company, pumpkin ale. I see Ross has a atomic pumpkin. I I'm ready to move off the pumpkins and get into the more Christmassy beers now. I haven't looked for any quite yet, but I'm done with the pumpkin after this one. I saved it just for whenever I was chugging again. Luckily, it was only a week, so.
I'm with you on that.
Well, you've encouraged me to. I'm going to add. I got some my little water glass here. I'm going to add some scotch because no work tomorrow. I'm going to chug a little scotch and water with you. How about that?
I love it.
I'm only going to do this. This spur of the moment right here.
That's what makes this show great. It's always spur of the
Right.
moment.
That's what's great about live podcasting.
Right.
So go ahead. It's your chug, man.
Go Browns.
Go Browns.
Go Browns. Woo, that'll get the.
This is a spicy pumpkin.
I did not make it the full way, but that was cold.
Ooh.
That was cold, but.
Is it gone? Oh, he's got a little more. Yeah, I'm almost done with this. I don't want to save it for specific chug later.
Oh, that was cold. That was good because that means another Browns win, which means I'll be putting $10 more in it set aside, and I'll be raising money for charity of some sort. I need you. Are you guys in the Cleveland area, right? No, you are, Ross.
Yes. Oh, yeah. We're all Greater Cleveland. Yeah.
Okay, so I need the dog chug to promote the best cancer research that we can donate money to, and then we'll make it happen where we donate the money to.
All right, sounds good.
Cancer organization.
Oh,
so
you can count on us. Yeah.
You guys promote it all over Twitter. Do your thing, and then we'll
make one. We'll make one of those giant checks for you.
That would be awesome.
I'll do one of my really long tweets.
I love that too.
All right.
Take up
We
half
can
your
do
time.
whatever we can to help, Eddie. That sounds awesome, man. A good cause. Man, what do you think about what do you got for Sunday? What's their prediction? Give us early. We're not going to hold you to it because we still got to get through the rest of the week. What are you looking at as a Wednesday prediction for Sunday? Browns Ravens. I
said earlier, Faithful Dogs podcast on this network. I have them by 3. I don't know the exact score. I'm thinking like 21-18 or 20-17 or 23-20, something like that. I think it comes down to who gets the ball last and can get their kicker into field goal position. I'm very confident about this game. I know the line's banged up and the Ravens defense is stout, but we're not starting DTR 2.5 hours before the game saying, hey, kid, here's your first start against that defense. Go ahead. No, Deshaun Watson played well last week. I think he plays well this week. It doesn't have to be Superman. Just do what he did last week. Don't turn it over. That's the biggest thing. And I think the Browns go into Baltimore and win. I had before the season they would split, but the road team would win each game. And I think that stays true. And if that's the case, then Browns Twitter will be fun for a week. in a good way, in a good fun. Yeah.
I think I agree with you, man. I think it's going to come down to the 2 kickers. We got D-Hop. He's right up there. One of the best kickers in football. Yep. I think it's going to be a close one, too. I don't know which way it's going to go, but I got the same thing. The score is going to be like that, and I don't know who's going to have what yet. It's only Wednesday. So
a lot of time to get to Sunday, but we're one step closer. Tomorrow's my Friday. I'm real excited about that. So
all right.
You guys are the best.
Right, Ed, thanks for coming on.
Appreciate you.
I got a little bit of beer left, so I'm going to do a little cheers. And then
catch Eddie, the Petty Eddie podcast, right? Petty Eddie podcast?
Nope. Not doing that for a little bit. I'm just going with Faithful Dogs for a little bit.
It's okay.
And
but you hang out with Zach and Ty. You go on there. You're with them almost, all the time. Right?
Jack,
I know you do a lot with the Thursday night to Sunday morning pregame. You catch Eddie on Network 216. He's all over the place, man. Eddie, thank you, my friend.
Appreciate you guys. Love you. Talk to you soon.
Peace.
All right. Did our next guy show up?
Yeah, I think it looks like Chuck's hanging out. If Chuck's ready,
all right, man.
Nod your head, Chuck, if you're ready. I think he's ready. I think he's excited. I think he's been waiting to talk about Guardians football. Wow. It's football season, so I'm used to saying that. Guardians baseball.
Well, let's have a guard chug moment with Chuck's Corner and get a lowdown on our new manager. And I thought, who better to bring in?
Chuck, what's up?
Chuck, welcome back to Guard Chug.
It's been a long time. How we doing?
Doing good. You look well, my friend. You look good.
I'm relaxing. I'm in off-season mode. I got my undershirt on, just relaxing.
Beautiful, man. Beautiful. We want to spend some time with you. Thank you for coming on with, sharing your time with us. Just get into it. Give us a lowdown. Tell us. I don't know. I know him as a player. Tell us about Stephen Vogt, what we can expect, and where you stand on this.
So, I really wanted. I'm really happy about it. He just seemed everything I've read. He seems so personable. His personality is infectious, and that's really like the manager position in baseball has really changed over the years. It's not really like what it used to be. So like the front office is so involved and a lot of predetermined decisions that go on in the game. But Stephen Vogt, he doesn't have manager experience. I wanted someone young from the start. That was my thing. If it wasn't going to be Tito, I wanted to start over. I wanted someone young that we can build with. And it just seems that Stephen Vogt is a very, very good personality. Like players love him around the league, and it's exciting. It's gonna be it's gonna be fun to watch. Like as he gains experience, it's gonna be fun to watch.
I agree with you, Chuck. I think it's going to be a total change in culture in the locker room with the young guys. My first choice when all of it happened and we found out Tito was, and it was time for Tito to step down. I love him. I'll miss him. He's my second favorite Guardian manager. I had Hargrove as a kid, was my favorite player as a kid, so as a manager. But I love the change of direction. The only guy that I thought in the beginning was Sarbal because of the way he managed in the minors, and he's used to working with young ball players. Where you have a guy like Vogt that's coming in, and he basically served an apprenticeship underneath Council for four years. Just being a bullpen catcher, playing and learn how to manage game. Like you said, the game's changed. Now analytics runs the game.
Yeah.
The manager's job is to make a conducive and happy clubhouse, to get everybody to buy in to what you want to do and how you want to play the game of baseball. And that's your biggest job. And that's what Tito was good at. And Tito was a good buffer between the media and the fans and the front office and the fan. He had that skill. But what I hear is that Tito approved. Tito was in on this hire. I love that too.
I'm really gonna miss Tito. It's gonna be weird. It's gonna be weird not having him. It's gonna be really weird. But it's just a fresh start. He's very, very young. He's very personable. Apparently, the story is when he was offered the job, he was shoveling horse manure out of his yard. He has like a bit of a ranch, and the Guardians called him to offer the job, and that's what he was doing.
Yeah,
so that's nice. That's fitting. And it's just exciting. I'm very, very excited. It's gonna be it's gonna be a lot of fun to watch to see him gain experience. He's supposed to be very good with the media. I've seen a lot of clips on him. He's personable. He's not like Kevin Stefanski. Like he knows how to talk to people.
Look at that. I love it. I love Chuck bringing in some Browns reference, just relating to the Browns fans out there. What a guy.
Well, he's got to meet with the media 162 times, where Stefanski's got to do it 18 or whatever. So you get a little more relationship with the beat writers. You're traveling together. These people are, So I think that's where the personality comes in, where if you look at Chicago, when the ball club that they built, and they put Tony La Russa, an old grouchy, crotchety old man, you know what I mean? This guy's going to inject some life.
Yeah,
and fun.
I really wanted someone younger from the start. They interviewed like 65 people.
Yeah.
Starbug, I'm kind of surprised he's not in the I don't know if you heard, Roger. He's not. They let him go. He's not in the organization anymore. That was surprising. But
yeah, when he was the most, I was surprised. Also, I agree. Yeah.
As long as Sandy is on the staff, and it sounds like he will be, I'm happy.
Yeah, me too.
Sandy's
huge.
It sounds like Carl Willis will be back.
Most important thing with Sandy is you want him working with the catchers. You want him working with our young catcher, man. You want to keep him right where he's at with Sandy. All right, Chuck, I want to know early looking at it, standing right now with the new manager, seeing who just won the World Series, who Texas Rangers, they tore it down in 2016 when we went to the World Series. They lost in the playoffs. They tore it down. This is their first year back where they were over 500 playing baseball. And it took them 7 years to build this. And Baltimore actually is the same thing. They tore it down in 2016, where the Guardians had a late start. We didn't tear it down until after the Frankie Lindor trade, to where we tore it down. So we're only 2-3 years into a rebuild, like the Rangers, but we're way ahead of schedule, having won a bad division last year. But our pitching rotation, tell me just an early view, what you expect to see from this Guardians team, coming together next year. Just early prediction, where you at, Chuck?
Early prediction, I think they're going to be competitive, and I think they'll be right. They'll be right in the division. I think they'll be right there. They got to add a bat. They need to add an outfielder or a right fielder. Realistically, they need 2 outfielders, but I just don't see it happening. But they have to add a right fielder, a real veteran bat that has power, preferably right-handed. They cannot. I repeat, they cannot go into next year with this running and trot out the same outfield. They just can't do that.
I think what you're going to see is Tito did have his favorites, and that's no secret. He even made it. I think you're going to see guys that were Tito favorites that this manager is not. That may not even be on the ball club.
Tito definitely had his favorites.
So I think that's going to be refreshing for fans and for our roster. They guys that worked and played hard for Tito, and I just don't think they fit into the future of the Guardians, because I think with this rotation, you rebuild that bullpen. Like you said, you add a bat and you get a right fielder. We got to do something about center field, and maybe take a look at what you're going to have at first base. But they're close. They're close. They're competing with a team like the Rangers and the Orioles.
Like, they can't trot out Miles Straw. Exactly. If Miles Straw gets 600 bats and they pull my hair out, they can't do that. It's unacceptable.
Okay.
Ahmed Rosario's not here anymore. That the Ahmed Wars were a lot of fun. He actually blocked me on Twitter.
How dare he?
I muted you for a while, but it was tough love. I was showing you tough love.
Yeah, that's the definition of a Tito guy. If you go to war with Tito, he's going to play you and play you and play you no matter what. So shortstop, they'll probably go internal. It'll probably be Gabriel Arias to start if he doesn't get traded. That's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And you add a bat in right field, and they got to do something with Miles Straw. It's just ridiculous. But the rotation is very young, and it's up and coming. Tanner Bybee was incredible. I interviewed him on my podcast. A really cool dude.
He's up for Rookie of the Year. We'll find out. I think Friday we'll find out.
Yeah, Roger. Major League Baseball has this idiot rule: if you finish top 2 in Rookie of the Year voting, you get a full year's service time.
Right. It counts against. That's what they. So now that's the big hold on getting the rookies in before the.
So now we're rooting against our player to get it. We don't want him to get it. That's basically what it is.
Their fear was for the catch for Naylor, the catcher, to play too early and compete for Rookie of the Year. Oh, did we lose you? And that's why they held Bo Naylor, for as long as they did, because of the service time. And they thought he could compete for Rookie of the Year if he started playing in May.
Yeah,
it turned out to be Bybee.
What a stupid rule! Like, my God.
Yeah, I forget the name of it now, man. I wrote a whole thing about it, an article.
Baseball's hard to be excited. Last year, people forget. Last year, Bieber went down. McKenzie was out half the year. We had a lot of injuries last year.
Yeah,
and Naylor was out like 2 months towards the end of the year. We had a lot of injuries. If they stay, I think if the pitching staff stays healthy, and they add a bat, bullpens are weird in baseball. Bullpens every other year it's a different result. They usually bounce back. I'm not worried about the bullpen. I think Class A will be fine. He had some weird ones. I do worry about middle relief and the setup, but I think the bullpen for the most part will be okay. It's all about if they could add enough offense and the starting pitching stays healthy.
Right. And they'll go get some bullpen arms, and bullpens are fickle, man. A bullpen will make or break you, and it could be the same guys one year that are the best bullpen in baseball, and the next year They can be garbage. So
bullpens are weird.
It's a gamble with a bullpen. Chuck, you got about 4 minutes to whatever you want to get out. We got about 4 minutes because we got a great guest that I want to bring in here. And
absolutely, I am.
You go ahead and give it. You got 4 minutes. Open up.
4 minutes. I'm. There's a lot of reasons to be excited. Last year was not the year we wanted, obviously, but we got Tanner Bobby could win the Cy Young this year. I really believe
600 innings.
Yeah, there's a good chance Shane Bieber gets traded because he's in last year of arbitration. I think he does get moved. That's just how we operate. That's just the way it goes. A big part of next season is Tristan McKenzie's health. I think if he's healthy, he's a very, very good starter.
I was talking about that with the guy at work. Yes.
Yeah, yep. And he's a really big part of our.
His durability is his question mark.
Yeah, he's a really big part of our rotation.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm excited. You cannot be excited. I miss baseball already. It's gonna be a long off season.
Me too, man.
But I'm excited for when we get that outfielder. Hopefully I won't be driving when we do get that outfielder. But I'm really excited. And I'm really happy to be back on the dog truck. I missed it. It's been a long time. I don't know.
It is, man. It's been too long. You're welcome. You're welcome back anytime. Even if there's no baseball news, you want to come on and
we're just happy you're alive, Chuck.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hey, I want you. We're going to take next season. I want you to take it a game and just enjoy baseball. No expectations, Chuck.
No, I can't.
Don't put any expectations on them, and you'll enjoy baseball a lot more.
I'm telling you, I can. Rather it's a game in April or a game in October or September. Right. I get really intense.
All right.
Yeah.
I get it, man. I get it. You have a passion.
Andy could not be here, but he had one question. When you found out that Vogt would be our manager, did you drop anything?
I dropped my phone. I cracked the screen. I cracked the screen on my phone. I cracked the screen on my phone right away.
Keeping the streak alive. When you find out Guardians news, you drop something.
Andy's going to be so happy.
I have a huge cracked screen on my cell phone. I dropped it on the spot.
Oh man, that stinks. Man. But I mean, it's kind of expected at this point.
That's
awesome. I was at work, so then I ran up to the bathroom to read up on Twitter for like 25 minutes about what's going on.
Hey, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
You got to catch up on the news feed in the bathroom stall.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 I dropped my phone and cracked my screen when they had the press release on Twitter that it was going to be Vogt.
Well, Chuck, man, I missed you. I'm glad you came in tonight. Andy was sad that he wouldn't be able to see you, so you got to come back and see us again when Andy's here.
Absolutely.
Come back in before the holidays, and we miss you. We love you, and stay positive.
All right. Happy holidays, guys. It was great catching up with you.
Nice catching up with you, Chuck.
Yeah.
Go Guardians and go Jets.
Yeah. Go Guardians, go Jets. Yeah.
That was a shit show on Monday. Holy shit.
Should I take the Jets in our pool this week? Should I take the Jets or the Raiders?
I got a bad feeling.
Okay, I'm taking the Raiders.
Yeah. Yeah.
Raiders.
All right.
It's not
all
good.
Right. Thanks, Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck. See you later.
Thank you.
All right, man. That was good. Chuck was good tonight, man.
He was upbeat. Off-season Chuck is underrated.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Well, this is it, man. Our next guest, he's been on before. He's awesome. When I was 18 years old, I played softball with his dad. They were a bunch of older guys from the neighborhood, played for the corner bar, and they played in a Sunday beer league. You know where the Green Barn is at Rocky River Reservation? Where the fields are by the Green Barn, by the turn?
Actually, I played kickball.
They had Sunday leagues down there, and they just one year, his dad and those older guys from the neighborhood decided to load up with us young 18-year-olds, and we went and hammered a bunch of drunk dudes every Sunday morning. And then we go back and they let us drink with them behind the bar. One day I mentioned the street I grew up on, and it was like, hey, my grandma lived on that street, my dad, and that's how I got to know him. He was a host of a podcast the very first podcast I ever listened to was The Danger Zone. And it's a big reason why I started doing podcasts. It's our guest's fault that I'm here tonight and in your computer every Wednesday night. He is the defensive line coach for Mahoning Valley Gray Conference champs, the 12-0 Garrettsville Garfield High School G-Men. He's the defensive line coach for them. You know what? At one time, he gave a guy with Pittsburgh license plates the wrong directions at a gas station. No, he didn't. I made that up. So I'm going to bring on our guest, Rich Stark.
What's up, Rich?
Good evening, gentlemen. How are you doing?
Good evening. I made that last one up that you gave a guy with Pittsburgh plates the wrong directions at a gas station. And I didn't get no reaction out of Ross. I'm like, is this thing on?
Well, I'll tell you, that's an odd little piece of information there because one time when I tailgated in the pit forever ago, there was a guy that had Pittsburgh plates on his truck, and this guy had like butterfly nuts holding his plate on. So I just unscrewed the butterfly nuts, took his plate off, and stuck it in his cooler. And let him just drive home with no back plate on just to give him some hassle because, I mean, he drove from Pittsburgh. He had a Steelers sticker on his car, so I wasn't doing him no favors.
That is tremendous. I was writing all that stuff about introducing you, and I was like, I'm going to add something completely ridiculous. And it turns out you put a license plate of a Pittsburgh guy down in it. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, in my younger, more exciting days, it led eventually to the Muni lot. And that probably wasn't the worst thing that my group and I have collectively done to Steeler fans over the years. But we'll keep it. I don't want to, have anything come back to haunt me after the fact.
What happens in the Muni lot?
What happened in the 90s stays in the 90s.
Yeah, and the 90s too, right?
Right.
I said when I introduced you, that you are the defensive line coach. You're in the playoffs. Tell us all about it, man.
All right. So, look, man, I'll tell you, we kind of had a feeling early on that this team was going to be pretty good. This coaching staff's been together for a number of years now. I'm extremely fortunate to learn from these guys. But, after the season ends, we lost last year to South Range High School, who was arguably one of the best high school football teams, at least Division V, that I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, so there's like a month or so of no contact, and we come back in like February, March, and start lifting and going through the offseason again. And these guys were kind of hungry, man, and they would break down like every lifting and each individual like speed camp practice, and they still do it to this day. They break down to Thanksgiving. And their goal was to play on Thanksgiving. And unfortunately for the Perry Pirates, they're in the way of, getting to that game on Thanksgiving. We've pretty much beat up on everybody we've played this year. I'll give you a couple. We opened the season 42-0 over Middlefield Cardinal. We beat a private school who recruits kids, JFK out in Warren. We beat them 61-26. We played Division I Normandy, beat them down.
Normandy, that's my alumni.
Yeah, sorry, man. We kind of rubbed your face in the dirt on this one.
When I was in high school,
he won now because they merged the schools.
Right. This is the first year. And look, us, I grew up in Lakewood, so I'm used to some of the bigger schools, bigger football programs. And now living in Garrettsville, we're Division V. They saw Division I on there, and everybody's buttholes puckered up pretty tight, knowing that game was coming. And it turns out our kids were up to the challenge, man. That's
exciting.
There was no doubt in that one. That was 52-13, and I think those 13 points were scored in our JV in the second half. Our varsity kids have only played, haven't played a full game. They didn't play a full game for the first 8 weeks. So this team's pretty good. There's a couple of characters on the team that are part of are the reason why this is going so well. And if any of you have a moment, look up Keegan Sell. All right. Just type his name into Twitter. You'll see his highlights. He's an all-state champion wrestler. And he's also one of our backs and a linebacker. The kid's an absolute animal. And, like I said, it's unfortunate for the Perry Pirates that they're in the way for our, Thanksgiving Day game, basically.
I'll tell you what, right now, I know that Bill I know Bill's watching, and he's a writer and editor over at NEO Sports that does a lot of high school coverage. And maybe he caught that name and he'll look into it. Man, like I said, I love the small town because I grew up, the west side of Cleveland, and I grew up in the '80s, and I went to St. Ed's and Division I, and you just get lost in the,
Oh, you get lost in the shuffle. There's so many.
And I come down here, and now, like, I have a 14-year-old just made the 8th grade basketball team, so he's going to be a Black Tiger shooting guard, 8th grade this year. But he'll be going into high school next year, and I got an 8-year-old that's a ball player and a basketball player, and I want to get back out to taking them. I tried to get tickets, and this is funny. I called a buddy of mine that played 4 years at St. Ed's. The first they won the championship of 1987 was our graduation year, and I called Paul and I said, "Hey, I need tickets to the Ed's Hoban game." And he's like, "All right, man, I'll call my cousin Tim. He's still alum that's still active with the football." And then he got back to me. He's like, "Hey, I can get you on a waiting list for next year for the Hoban tickets." I was like, "God." He goes, "They're hard to get, man." He said, "High school football is just crazy, man."
We have a viewer who actually went to JFK that you mentioned it.
Yeah, I see this here. We had some pretty good games over the last couple of years with JFK. They beat us. Oh, hell, I usually delete these from my memory. I think they beat us last year on a last second, like a pop pass. Real quick, like the quarterback legit jumped in the air and dropped it to the tight end in the end zone to beat us right at the end of a game. JFK has been a problem for the last couple of years. I think we've split overall, or we're 3-1 against them. But JFK was pretty. I mean, they're still pretty tough. They didn't have a good year this year, but it's kind of cyclical. They'll get it back together pretty quick.
So you got Perry on Friday, and that's up in Maple Heights. You guys are playing up on the east side of Cleveland in the suburbs up there, and then it's Canfield and Lorraine Clearview. What is that? Or Barberton? Or they're playing in Barberton. So you'll play the winner out of the. If you beat Perry, and you're pretty confident, I think you will. And then you play the winner out of the Canfield Lorraine Clearview game, correct?
Yeah, we play the winner of that one. Personally, I don't look past men. We teach this philosophy to our kids. All of us, kids, coaches, have all bought into everything that we're selling. It's been one game at a time all year. We had the lofty goal, you know what I mean, from the jump, but it's always been one game at a time, 1 week at a time. Our head coach has a saying like, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Yeah.
Right. So that's how we treat every week, is just taking another bite out of that elephant to get to, our goal. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just, that's the like you said, the end goal to get to. That would be the Thanksgiving game. I didn't catch. They didn't have dates on the list that I had. Yeah.
The only date that matters really to us, I mean, Thanksgiving is like that's like where we wanted to get to, right?
Right.
The only date that matters to the Garfield G-men is December 2nd at 3 p.m.
I got you.
That's the Division 5 championship game.
You sound like Kevin Stefanski.
I'm definitely not quite as smart, and I'm a little more personable. I still won't give you any real information, much like Stefanski does.
You haven't. Yeah.
I'll just kind of talk in circles about, cliches and things of that nature. But, we just got work to do, man. I'm itching for it. I can't wait. Nobody outside of Garrettsville, maybe a handful of people, think we have a shot in this game. Everybody's been all high on Perry all season. They're the number 1 ranked team in D5. And that's just the way we like it, to be honest with you. It's always been us this whole time. This little tiny school in Garrettsville that runs the single wing that nobody even looks at anymore. And
man, that sounds awesome. I want to go to Maple Heights and watch this.
Do it up, man. Look, I hated the offense when we first started running it, but it's the most fun offense I've ever seen play. Like, we could tell you, and it's just the design of it. It's a beautiful thing, man. We could tell you where the ball's going, and there's not a damn thing you can do about it. And the worst thing you can do is stuff the box. If you're only a 1-level defense, you will not stop us. And that's part of the single wing, not just our style of football. That's just kind of the design of the single wing as well.
Right. Man, that sounds awesome. All right, man. We wish you all the luck on Friday. I know I'm going to be rooting for the G-men. Let's talk some Browns, man.
Yeah, I got a quick surprise for you. So,
okay.
Roger normally makes the top 10, but he's like he wasn't feeling it today.
Yeah.
Andy isn't coming in, so I was like, you know what? I'll pick up the slack and I'll put a little top 10 together. So with Deshaun still being day to day, he's actually not official for Sunday. A lot of people think he'll play, but he's still day to day. I made a top 10, so it's top 10 excuses Deshaun has in his back pocket. You know, just in case he doesn't play or isn't feeling it. So back in my day, the regular season was only 16 games. So you just take one of those out of there. It doesn't matter. I underestimated the hangover from Christmas ale. We've all been there.
Yes.
LeBron taught me load management.
Ooh, that's a low blow.
Kevin Stefanski's playbook is racist.
Ooh.
You don't want that one to get leaked.
Oh.
Pierogi slowed down the healing process.
Hey, you know,
nutrition. I thought the Browns were always supposed to lose. I mean, I guess that's one way to look at it. Micro tear is now a macro tear.
That's nice.
I'm just glad we're learning new medical terminology through our quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield locked me out of Cleveland Browns Stadium.
Oh, snap.
Oh, boy.
Nobody's home with this time.
Medical staff ran out of SpongeBob Band-Aids. That's his preference. If you've got a toddler, you know what I'm talking about.
True story.
I know exactly what you're talking about, man.
And lastly, I tell you why I can't play this week, but I signed an NDA.
Ooh, you dirty dog.
Ross, those were phenomenal. I screwed up. I jumped off of when I was with Chuck, I went to go look at something and I jumped off of the dock. Those were awesome. Those were incredible. Yeah, because Andy didn't show up. We had such a busy show tonight. I knew we wanted to get to Rich. I knew that we wanted to cover with Chuck and Eddie, and I was like, man, I ain't going to do a top 10 this week. And then Andy called in sick, so we had no intro at all. So you did awesome, man.
All right. Fill in for the great Roger.
Rich, I made it a staple on here to do like the old school Dave Letterman top 10, and like after you do them, it gets monotonous after a while. So I didn't want to do it, and Ross did an awesome. Those were fresh, and might have become the same joke over and over every week. Seems like.
Well, I mean, you know, that might have something to do with your age in general.
You're right.
Repeating yourself, you know. But I like the top 10, man. I think if you keep doing it, though, you just got to watch. You just don't get more outlandish. That's what I tend to do. If I repeat something too much, I'll just start getting further and further away from it.
That's what happens. And I ended up calling D. Haslam a Nazi, and I got in all kinds of trouble with it.
Oh, yeah, they'll cancel you. You got to watch out, Roger. They will cancel you.
I'm going to get in trouble again. Andy's not here. Usually Andy gets in all the trouble, and they leave me and Ross alone. But now that Andy ain't here, I'm probably in trouble. Hey, let's get back to it. I want to hear, since you're a defensive line coach, I want to hear you talk about Jim Schwartz, that front seven, and we got a defensive tackle that has 7 sacks. What the?
Look, finally, after complaints over the last couple of years, they finally addressed like the interior of the defensive line. And it has by far been the biggest improvement in the defense. And that's where it starts. I mean, you know, if you got, you change it. First off, you've got to change the line of scrimmage, right? And how do you do that? Well, with quality interior defensive linemen. All right. You don't expose your corners, whether they're good or not, if they don't have to cover for 3 seconds. I mean, there's only a handful of corners ever that could cover over an extended amount of time, and they're all in the goddamn Hall of Fame. It's been refreshing, right? All the years that we loved Bernie Kosar and those 80s Browns, like they weren't the most prolific offense. We won a lot of those games with some gritty angry defense.
Yep.
Man. And to have that back kind of gives me a little bit of gives me that nostalgic feeling for when the Browns were good when I was younger, of watching that same style of football. And I'm a defensive coach, so I would prefer to win every game 3-0, and that'd be just fine with me.
Yep.
But Schwartz has got these guys playing. He gives them loafs for not celebrating each other's victories and stuff like that. Like, come on, man. I mean, that's just good stuff that makes your players want to play for you. And you can get more out of a guy, regardless of his talent level. You can get more out of a guy if he wants to play for you. And Schwartz is getting the most out of all these guys, man.
Yep. Yeah, man. I love the defense. You know what? I told somebody this at work, a guy that he's actually going to be on next week. He's going to stop in because he's a Steeler fan, but he knows a lot about sports. We talk a lot, and that's exactly what I said to him, is that the defense is what has me locked in with this Browns team. I really don't like Deshaun Watson that much personally, and right. It has nothing to do with any of the allegations. It has to do because he didn't show up at the Senior Bowl and work out for our coaching staff and said he didn't want to come to Cleveland. That's the grudge. I'm from West 74. I'm from the neighborhood. I'm going to hold that grudge forever against him. You know what I mean? That's kind of why I didn't want him. I was like, you don't want to come to Cleveland? We don't want you. You know what I mean? That was back when he was coming out. But this defense is the personality of the team. Like you said, Jim Schwartz is letting them celebrating with them. That's transition. That's like getting contagious, spreading to the offense where they're into it. Man, I'm a guy that loved Clarence Scott and safeties like Dane Gabb. What I used to play CYO football, and they used to there was one referee one of the refs was a priest, and I'd stand over people like Robert L. Jackson. I had to neck roll and I'd growl and spit, and they'd put me on the sidelines because I'd do that. I'm a defensive guy, You
got to watch though. They'll flag you for that stuff now. We've kind of softened the game up a little bit where you've got to kind of tackle them really hard but nicely.
Right, nicely, really hard but nicely. Yeah, man, I'm a Ronnie Lott guy. That's the defense I want to see. But they have me. That's why I love this team this year and why I'm so into it is the defense. They're carrying the team.
Right. Well, in past years with our defense, it was just like, hey, can we hold them to a field goal? Or, it just wasn't exciting. Like you knew your team had to score 30 points to win. But a lot of times our offense wasn't capable of scoring 30 points. So we were just kind of in no man's land forever. Not only can this defense hold them to a field goal or sometimes 0 points for an entire game like we saw last week, but, if you mess around long enough, they'll take one to the house on you and put points on the board.
Yeah,
and that it changes the whole makeup of the game when that ability is there. And then, just big plays from the usual suspects. It's been fun to watch.
That's the defense, and they've done this all year, even against Baltimore the first time. They went down the field, but when they get a 3 and out, the reason that you pay $230 million for a quarterback is when you get a 3 and out and they do that once, you go out there and you capitalize on it. They get a turnover to capitalize on it. And that's what the Browns have to do to beat Baltimore is when we do stop and got to shut down the run. But offense, he needs to go out there and capitalize it. And you it was a perfect segue into what our friend and a writer and one of the founders of 216 in our network, Jacob Roach, he says, and I believe it, that W's are not a quarterback statistic. But I think for me with Watson, that's all I care. Just get a W, I expected franchise quarterback play, hit the ground running when you came in. That didn't happen. I don't care how he wins. I just want to win. The defense is going to give you opportunities to score, and the offense, he needs to take advantage of that. Because if you don't and you punt or you turn the ball over and the defense got to run it back out, they start to get discouraged, and that's what happened with the Pittsburgh game. You just have to keep going back out there, and the offense isn't doing anything with these turnovers or the 3 and outs.
Yeah, I mean it's tough sailing sometimes with Deshaun, man, and I'm learning to live with it. Like, you don't just forget how to be a good quarterback. I'm a firm believer that it's just going to take some time and game rhythm to get him back together. But I'm old enough to be around for Browns games where we just didn't win. So I don't care whether it's an ugly win or we didn't win the way we expected to. Say we beat Arizona 27-24 or something, right? I don't care.
I don't care.
I just want to see the W at the end of the week. I don't care if we win on a last-second field goal or we win on a last-second missed field goal by the other team or anything. It's irrelevant, right? You can talk about it in the moment, but once the W's done, close it up, move on to next week.
Right. And I don't care so much about, you hear a lot, is he going to be an elite top 5 quarterback? Is he going to do this? Is he going to do that? Is he going to be MVP? I really don't care about his personal accolades. We had an MVP quarterback, Brian Sipe. He took us to one playoff game and lost it. He was there 8 years, and he had one good season, an MVP season, and it really didn't tally up to much, but a really exciting one season. I don't care if he wins all he needs to do is win football games. And however he gets that done, I don't care, My expectations, that's my bar now with them. We have a lot invested in this game. Is a huge pivotal game, I believe, for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the reason he's here.
Yeah, I said it earlier, man. Like the victories and success on the field, it's like stacking pennies, right? You don't just get a giant stack. You just keep stacking them one after another.
Yeah.
And eventually it's a big-ass stack of pennies. So he's had, for at least games that he started, he's had 2 pretty good games in a row. It would be a giant deal, I think, in terms of his confidence and the rest of the team's confidence in him to stack another one this week. That doesn't necessarily mean we have to win. This isn't a season ender. I'm not putting that kind of weight on one single game. It is a division game, but regardless, if we still lose the game, but he plays really well, I'm not okay with the loss, but I'm not hitting the eject button.
I can agree with that.
Early in the season.
I can agree with that. Hey, Ross, why don't you, we got our, let's do spit, sip, chug. Ross going to take over. These are statements. If you remember how we play, he's going to read a statement. If you strongly agree, you're going to chug on it. If you're in the middle, it's a sip. And if you strongly disagree, you're spitting. So that's how we're going to do it. And Ross has got, we got 4 or 5 statements you're going to read. All right. Now we go around the horn a little bit. Am I allowed to sip? Andy ain't here. I'm going to do whatever.
Hey,
I'm
you
in
do
charge.
whatever the heck you want. I'm
in charge.
I'm a democratic co-host.
Right.
You can do whatever you want today.
All right.
So the first statement today, leading all defensive players with a 93.3 PFF grade, Myles Garrett will win Defensive Player of the Year. So, Roderick, you can kick this one off, and then we'll go clockwise.
You know what? I was hard. I'm chugging on it. I knew Myles Garrett was more than what he was doing on the field. I'd see guys like Bosa, see guys like Watt, chasing plays down from behind, pulling guys. I see Myles Garrett kind of, to me, it looked like he'd take a playoff. I think what he was discouraged, man. The guy was drafted here. He was year after year with just crap and BS. And what we're seeing right now is what I wish we had 7 years of Myles Garrett being happy, playing with other talent around him, playing in a scheme that highlights him really. Myles Garrett's going to run away with the Defensive Player of the Year award. I'm chugging on it all day long.
Well, I'm going to join you on the chug train.
All right.
Because here's the thing, he's always been an awesome player with awesome moments in games, but what made TJ Watt better and these other elite defenders is it felt like they always made plays when they really needed them, at the end of games or critical situations. That's happening now with Myles Garrett. Right. He single-handedly has helped us win games this year and had big sacks, big turnovers, strip fumbles. you name it. And they're in very important games in close moments. And we're seeing that now where that's kind of what wins you Defensive Player of the Year. Unfortunately, sometimes it's not just like, PFF grades or analytics. Sometimes it's like, hey, what was your highlight play and what helped you? Did you have a single play that helped you win a game? And we're seeing a lot of that this year. He's got a compilation, and we're only Browns are only eight games into the season, even though we're going to week 10. Or not, 9, 8. It's gonna be interesting to watch. There's a lot of good defensive players this year he's gonna compete against with Micah Parsons and TJ Watt again. But this feels like the year. He's actually got D tackles that are good next to him.
Yep.
He's had a decent edge rusher next to him before, but this might be his best edge rusher he's ever had for a full season as well.
All right, I'm going to have to sip on it, but for every reason that you, Ross, also said, and you, Roger, the difference is I need to see the Indianapolis Colts game. I need to see that 2 more times this season.
Okay, fair.
Before I can just say he's the guy. Right now he's playing like it. But we can't have him fade during the long stretch here. I need games where to win Defensive Play of the Year, there's got to be a couple of games that you just flat out take over. You don't do it for one game. And I just want to see him flat out take over at 2 more games this year, and then I'll be a chug on this question the next time it comes up.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, we had a few chuggers. We had Brian chugging. We had Does It Matter? Chugging.
Does it matter?
Chugging
Jessica
for the hell
B.
of it sounds like, to be optimistic. Yeah,
Jessica says she wants to chug. What was the end of it? I missed it.
The end of it?
No, yeah, Jessica.
She's
chugging
for optimism, kind of the Nick Carnes way of thinking.
Right. The Nick Carnes school of.
All right, so statement number 2. 39-year-old rookie Stephen Vogt will be in over his head as Guardians manager, leading Cleveland to a last-place finish in the Central Division. I'm going to spit on it. I don't think it's going to be an in over his head situation if we're last in the division. He seems like a guy that right off the bat, he's saying, I'm just going to hire people that are going to help me, which is a great situation to put yourself in. It means you're going to trust, probably the way our front office wants to think, which has been pretty successful in the last decade. If you were to rank front offices and the way we run Cleveland sports, the Guardians are probably number 1 in the last 10 years with how they operate. And 2, the fact that he's going to be a delegator, he's not going to be in over his head. I mean, it just seems like it from the little interviews I'm watching, and the fact that he's a managing personalities kind of guy. I don't see him doing like egregious actions where he's trying to make a statement and go in over his head. I mean, that seems kind of nuts to me, but I'm giving it a shot. He's inheriting a good situation, a lot of good young players. And I think like Chuck kind of talked to and Roger commented, they're the baseball guys. I just kind of ride off of Roger's coattails a little bit. There's no way we can be more injured next year than this year. So in my opinion, that puts us in a really good spot to be better regardless of what the manager does. Rich, what do you think?
All right, so this is going to be odd, but I kind of feel like it's a good spot for me. I'm going to chug, and I'll tell you why. I am not a Guardians hater in any way, shape, or form. And I feel like this is a good spot for me. I just kind of want to see the world burn in terms of the Guardians. I just want to see what would happen. I don't think it's likely, honestly, but I wouldn't mind a little bit of chaos. The Guardians have been too, outside of the injuries, they've been just kind of too normal. Just throw a monkey wrench in it just to see what happens.
A little chaos.
You want to kill Chuck?
Chuck, that poor guy.
Chuck will fall down and have a heart attack.
Guardians are his life.
That poor guy. I mean, it's been rough watching them make some of the decisions they've made in the last handful of years. But and like I said, I'm always pulling for him. I am a Guardians fan, but it's just been outside of the World Series and things like that, it's just kind of been nothing real exciting. I mean, and I'm not taking for granted the World Series. It just, I just want to see the world burn. The hell with it.
All right. Well, I'm on it. I'm spitting on it. I wrote it and I had to reread it to make sure I made the right decision. I'm spitting on it only because of the talent that nothing has changed. They won the division and went to the playoffs, and they lost in Game 5 to the Yankees 3 years ahead of schedule. Nobody was more surprised that they were in the game in that division series against the Yankees than the Guardians front office, because they started a teardown and they started to go through their farm system and start to build another baseball team. And how the Cleveland Guardians, Cleveland Indians / Guardians have always done it is build pitching staffs. And right now they're on the cusp of having probably the best pitching staff, if McKenzie is healthy, in baseball. And they weren't too far off of it with all the chaos last year and all the changes. The pitching staff was solid. You're stacking pennies, Rich. A lot of young guys like Bybee, Logan Allen, Betancourt, all of them stacked some pennies and got a lot of valuable innings that are going to mean a lot down the road. I think the only people that are disappointed, like fans, of course, were all disappointed. And I wrote about it in the beginning of the season. And they're only halfway through. It took the Texas Rangers 7 seasons of under 500 baseball to win a World Series. You know what I mean? And we're in year 3 of it, and we're way ahead of schedule. I think the Guardians are going to win a division this year. I think they have the right guy to lead this team. I think this young manager in this spot with this young ball club, they could go a long way. If the front office, and I think they're going to help him by getting him some of the things that they need in free agency or making trades. So I'm excited about the hire, and I'm excited about Guardian. But I always am it's November, and we haven't even had Guard Fest yet. So, all right, go ahead, Ross. I'm done.
All right.
Scotch is kicking in.
So
I've been sipping on it the whole night. So
Sunday's game versus Baltimore will be a defining game for Deshaun Watson. Rich, we're going to start with you on this one.
Yeah.
All right, I got to ponder that for a brief moment. So, all right, I'm going to chug it.
All right. All right.
It has to be. Otherwise, we're in deep shit.
Chug the optimism. I love it.
I mean, we can't wait forever, man. And this is a big stage, big game. Big players do big things when the games matter. And for all of our sanity, I hope he does have a big game and it becomes the defining moment of his Browns tenure, and we build on it from here. That's my hope for Sunday.
I got a drink to that. My turn?
Yeah. You're right.
You know what? It will be a defining game. Either way it goes. I'm chugging on it because one way or the other, it's going to define Deshaun Watson. It's going to define him in the media. National media is on him. They're saying that we didn't get our money's worth. But it can take a lot of pressure off him, get a lot of people off his back, and really, I think all he has to do is go out there, because I really believe the defense is going to have a game. I think Jim Fort's going to have him ready. All he needs to go out there and do is not lose that game and play like a leader and lead his football team. And that's really what we paid for, as a franchise leader. I don't expect rookie 2017, 2018, ridiculous, running all over the place, skinny, a little chunky, a little thicker than what he was back then. You know what I mean? There's people that envision him doing that. I don't think that's what we got. What I hope we got is a smarter, older, veteran, franchise leading quarterback to lead our franchise. it's going to define them one way or the other. I heard Nick Wilson on the radio, and he was saying that is, progress. Well, look at the progress. Well, in the beginning, we didn't sign up. You give Baker Mayfield a year, 4 years looking for progress because he was a draft pick. We paid for hit the ground running franchise quarterback play. That hasn't happened. So instead of hanging on to that and blaming him for that, let's recalibrate. And what are we getting and what do we expect out of Deshaun Watson moving forward? And for me, that is to be a veteran leader and a quarterback that's going to win the tough football games when you have to win them. So, it's going to be a defining game for him.
Well, Roger, while I do appreciate you saying what a defining game for new Deshaun Watson is, which is apparently a defining game in your opinion is him leading the team and not being amazing. That's pretty sad. So I thought about sipping, but I'm going to spit. Because if we're just going to say defining is winning games and not playing well, then fine. We're good with that. But I'm spitting just because of the sample size of his game. I'm kind of worried. And if he's using the excuse of a lingering injury that he's not playing at that level, then I'm going to assume he's going to play at that level. Like last week was his third best game in his, 10 game sample size. And that wasn't that amazing of a game. Like he had a freaking touchdown pass off of someone's helmet. That wasn't a real touchdown. I don't expect it to be his defining game. It doesn't mean I'm not going to give the Browns optimism to win because this defense can win any freaking game they want, regardless of who's quarterback. We've already seen that this year.
And like Rich said, with Miles can take this game over.
I sure as hell hope it is because I want to get a win. But like, there's no way from what I've seen so far that this week against possibly the best team in the NFL right now, he's going to pull that off. Like if he's going to pull that off, it's going to be against the team we played last week. That would be his defining game, and he couldn't even have his defining game then. So is he going to have his defining game against the Ravens? Very, very unlikely. Will he have it near the end of the season? I really hope so, but this week to expect him to have a defining game seems outrageous. But if defining game means just being a leader and showing up like Roger said, then I would chug. But I hope to God that our very highly paid, experienced quarterback, his defining game isn't just showing up and being a leader. His defining game should be 5 touchdown passes to 5 different receivers running for like 50 yards. I don't know. That's what I think of defining game.
Now I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight.
But Roger changed his pace. I mean, 3 weeks ago, Roger was about to
let the guy get off the hook with
over to Deshaun Watson's house and give him candy corn and pennies in his trick or treat.
Let him get off the hook with a 22-21 win off of somebody's helmet, and I'll be happy. So,
anyways, I didn't mean to shit on Roger completely there, but it kind of turned into that a little bit because I thought about sipping, but that kind of defeated the purpose of the statement. That'd be like not giving any opinion.
You should, yeah.
So
From the beginning, I think you lined me up since I wrote that earlier this afternoon. Like, I'm going to go get him.
I didn't know you were going to say that. So the last statement. This is a more straightforward one. Roger really insisted I put in an OBJ spit sip chug in here just because. Just for a little drama. OBJ will have more receiving yards than Elijah Moore. Roger, what do you think about this?
Man, I hope. No, you know what? I'm spitting on it. I think our defensive backs are going to lock. I don't think OBJ, I think he's going to have 1 catch for 8 yards. I think they're going to lock. I don't think OBJ is going to even be a factor. I saw a quick clip where last week he played and he's healthy. He's playing, and I despise OBJ with every bone in my body. I just do, man. I always have. And no, Elijah Moore's, you know what? If we're going to win this game, Elijah Moore better have more yards than OBJ.
Well, I'm gonna do a little Roger and sip here.
You're gonna sip?
But for good reason. Only because I think Elijah Moore will get more total yards than OBJ because Kevin Stefanski is going to get cute again. He got, like the jet sweep he kept trying to run with Elijah Moore and it kept failing. Well, Kevin Stefanski is going to be like, you know what? I'm sick of this play failing. I'm going to keep trying it again. And we're finally going to get the one Elijah Moore jet sweep that gets us like 30 yards, and that 30 yards will be more than the 20 yards receiving OBJ will get.
I've watched those, and I've seen the jet sweep, and I've seen creases that if he hits them, he's gone. He's gone. I just don't think he knows how to hit it like a running back I don't think he has the vision for it. Because I've seen replays of where he just keeps stretching it out, and there's a crease where if he hit it, he's gone all day long. And I just don't think he has the vision of a running back to hit those creases. I'm sorry. I turned it into a bait. Go ahead, Rich. My fault.
I'm going to spit on this one. I think OBJ is getting locked up. 1 catch, 7 yards.
There you go.
And I'm going to go the opposite here. I think Stefanski finally pulled his head out of his ass and stopped trying to get cute and do all these fancy things with Elijah Moore. There's some advanced metrics and stats and whatnot. I don't read too much. It's just too much for me, But I kind of get the gist.
You got a D5 high school program to run. You don't got time for that.
I don't have time for that nonsense, man. But
try baseball.
Elijah Moore is running open. He's open on a lot of these plays, and we're just not getting him the ball.
Right.
I think we just need to use him as a regular, and I'm not taking nothing away from Elijah Moore. Just use him as a regular ass receiver.
Well, yeah, because you don't have DPJ's gone,
which I hated, mind you. By the way,
Me
just
too.
so you know, I absolutely hated that. But I don't see OBJ is getting locked down by one of the.
That's what I said. Somebody got to lock his smart mouth a little down. Yeah.
Well, that wraps up Spit Sip Chug. Thanks, Rich, for participating and dealing with Roger, dealing with Deshaun just having to be a leader and not an actual good quarterback. We're all cool with that.
That's so
man, you know what, man? I'm trying to stay positive with this guy. I never liked him.
I'm just trying to get him going.
I'm trying to be like the positive and say, all right, I'm not going to kill a guy in an orange helmet. I don't want to kill a guy in an orange helmet. So I'm trying to be positive, say, just win, you piece of shit. Just fucking win, So
I'm with you, man. Look,
I don't care how you do it, man.
The bar's low.
You shady
I'm
little.
telling you, I think he has a monster game this week.
Right. And you know what? If he throws for 500 yards, then so be it. But
just give me 325, man, and 3 TDs, and I'll be ecstatic.
All right. Well, we got our pool, right?
Yeah. So last but not least, we got the greatest pool. Usually Andy's leading this. Andy's in this big pool where, he's wasting his money usually, but thanks to the dog chug, I think he's in the top 5, or he was number 1 last week.
We're number 1
number 1
all year. We have more out of the 5 picks. We're like number 1 over everybody else that does this, I guess.
So yeah, in this greatest
we
pool,
never won the pot.
We submit 5 picks against the spread between college and NFL games, and Andy turns them into his bookie or whoever it is, right. And we either help him win or lose money. So in this case, Andy actually kicked it off and sent us his pick because he's out sick today. Andy picked an NFL game. He took the Patriots being given 1.5 points over the Indianapolis Colts, and this is over in Germany, I believe. So a little international betting. First game of the weekend after Thursday night football, of course. So that should be an interesting one. Rich, what do you got for your pick?
So I'm going with the Niners, who are given 3 to Jacksonville at home, mind you. Niners just got Chase Young with that already absurd defensive line. And I kind of think they're just going to beat up on poor Trevor Lawrence, Sunshine, and win by a significant margin.
I like it. That's a solid one. Roger, who do you have this week?
I bounced back and forth, and then Andy's bookie called me, Nicky Kneecaps, his name is. He's looking for Andy, and I asked him for a tip. He told me to take the Raiders. The Raiders are going to be hot. They got rid of McDaniels. He got on his plane and flew out of there. Remember in Cleveland when he got on the plane, people were tracking his plane. Well, he flew and they kicked his ass out. So the Raiders were hot. They got new leadership there, and they won last week. They told me to roll.
They're being given 0.5 point.
Yeah. They're giving 0.5 point.
Yeah, they're getting 0.5 point. The Raiders.
Give me the 0.5 point in the Raiders.
All right, I like it. Andy said he will be getting a pick from his. How old is Baby Manch these days? Is he 1?
No, 2. You're coming up on
now.
2. Yeah,
All right,
be up
Baby
on
Manch
2.
is 2, and Baby Manch will be making his pick this weekend. So that is TBD, pick number 4. But pick number 5 for me is going to be Atlanta -1.5 over the Cardinals.
Ooh.
From what I've seen, Atlanta has a great defense.
Yeah, Atlanta's got a great defense.
They just got quarterbacks that are turnover machines.
Yeah.
Whether it's Desmond Ritter or Taylor Heineke.
They should just run the same offense that Garfield High School runs, and Atlanta would win all the games because they got a great defense.
Well, they're playing the Cardinals against the same quarterback we saw last week. Atlanta's got this easy with their defense. As long as their quarterback just doesn't throw the ball and just holds onto it like a fullback. They should that's all the Atlanta should do. Their quarterback should just hold the ball like a running back, covering it as much as they can, and just punting and kicking field goals all day, and they'd win every game.
Yeah, exactly, man.
They just turn the ball over so much. It's like we do it bad, but they do it even worse. But I still believe in them this weekend because the Cardinals are that bad, and they really want to get a good draft pick.
Yeah, they're battling for a draft. They're hoping to hit goals like the Texans did. How about that, man? And I'm a Michigan fan, and C.J. Stroud, I'm glad Ryan Day didn't know how to use him. That's all I can say, because he is lighting up the NFL, and you just like to see it. I hate to see it for the Texans because their situation, they got they got this rookie that's just killing it, and we got the guy that refused to play for him, and they got him. It's just a whole mess. But even as a Michigan fan, I like watching C.J. Stroud play football. That boggles my. I
was right. Baby Manch is 1. What are you talking about?
Oh,
see, I was right.
Really? See, Jessica, she knows.
We were doing those Baby Manch bits while his wife was pregnant. So that's been like 2 years.
He wanted me to get him a bottle of bourbon last week. I thought he was older.
Oh yeah, 2. That's even better. Give him the bourbon.
Oh, hey, we had a good show tonight, man. This is a good show. We missed Andy, but
Rich comes on. He's got to come on more.
Rich, you're welcome. It's an open invitation, man. You want to come back on towards the playoffs, towards the end of the year?
You tell me when, man. I'll be there.
All right, man. You're in, man. It was a beautiful, beautiful night. Good show. What do you want to do? Predictions and get out of here?
Sure.
All right. I'll go first, and then we'll end with Rich, and we'll do a chug and sign off. It's Wednesday. I'm still at the 21-17, 22-19. I'm going to say Browns 24-21 Browns.
Oh, man. I guess I think I'm going to do what I did with the 49ers game where I said the Browns were going to get killed, and it worked in our favor. So I'm going to use the same reverse psychology, whether it's a real prediction or not here. And it's going to be a low-scoring affair with the Ravens squeaking it out 16-15.
Ooh.
We're going to do some funky stuff to get a weird score.
Wow. Yeah, 15.
I mean, I'm inclined to agree with Ross here. I think if you're a Browns fan, bet the under. I think the higher the points go, the less likely it is we're going to win the game.
Yeah.
Give me 14-10, baby. Go Browns.
All right. Well, that concludes this week's episode of Dog Chug. I want to thank Eddie for coming on and doing a victory chug. We didn't even talk about last week's game, and we didn't need to. I want to thank Chuck for coming on, talking about some guards baseball at Chuck's Corner, and I want to thank our guest Dick Stark for stopping in. Part of our family now. You're going to be back in here in about a month. We're going to have you back in.
Sounds good, gentlemen. Thanks for having me.
All right, man.
Thanks, Rich.
Let's raise our glasses and go Browns.
Go Browns.